Hey everybody, Kristyglass here with a finished object for you, and I am obsessed with this finished object. It is the Pangolin from Pickles. This is completely made with Sadness Garn yarn, and this is my second collaboration with Sadness Garn. So if you want this sweater, there are kits on our website, Knit and Escape, for a limited time. I will link to the kit right underneath this video. You'll have to get the pattern on your own because that is the Pickles pattern, but if you want yours to look like mine, we've put some kits together for you. So let me walk you through this finished object. It is so much fun. Sometimes I have a little bit of trouble reading Scandinavian patterns. I think Pickles is Norway or Denmark, I'm not sure exactly, but there is a translation from the native tongue to English. And every time I do a pattern like that, I really do have to concentrate and think about things. So I'm gonna tell you about what I got hung up on a little bit with this pattern, just so that you don't feel intimidated if you're reading through and feel like maybe you don't understand. Basically, it's so simple. It looks complicated, but it isn't. So you're making triangles of various sizes. So you start with some smaller triangles, and then it grows, and the majority of the sweater is the same size triangle. And then on the sleeve, you go back to making smaller triangles. Now, I missed that note, so I made my last couple of rows the same size as the rest, and then I just adjusted my cuff to fit the larger triangle. It was not a big deal at all. And I kind of like that it's a fuller sleeve. Sometimes I modify sleeves so that they're fuller and come into a smaller point anyway, so that was not a problem for me at all. I received the shade card from Sadness Garn, and I picked out all of these colors to go in this sweater, and my strategy was to place them sort of light, dark, light, dark. And as I was knitting, I flipped one of the two rows. So if you make it, maybe you can flip it back. So I accidentally flipped this sort of amber color with this lighter color. So you can see there's two darks and two lights together. I don't think it's a tragedy, so I didn't go back to fix it. But I just wanted to point that out in case you were going, wait a second. The other thing I wanted was a through line color, so I chose this ochre color to be the cuffs and the collar, and a few stripes. There's a stripe at the beginning and kind of in the middle, and then the ribbing at the end. So that's my color story, and I wanted it to sort of break all the rules. I wanted it to feel scrappy. So it's hard to pick out yarn for a kit and a project when you want it to look scrappy, like it was coming from all different projects. It's a little bit challenging, but I think I achieved it. And one through line was the color blue. So we have this very light sort of periwinkle blue, and then maybe like a cadet blue and a navy blue. So there's many blues. Then there's sort of shades of like the fire tones. So we have the pink and red and orange, and then the darker pink. And then there's some more neutrals. So we have this sort of oatmeal color and the ochre. And then a few unexpected colors in there, like this green and sort of the burnt maroon color in there. And I just love it because it feels like I want to dig into a project as I begin my knitting season, and may I offer you this sweater. I think this is the sweater to do it. Let me show you some of the yarns that I used. So I used 3 different bases, and I have lost many of the labels, so I'm probably going to be really not informative at all, but let me see if I can figure it out. Almost the entire sweater is made with DPNs, and I used wood. I guess these are like a wood or a bamboo, and I think that is the right move because you don't want your needles to slip out, but also you're probably going to finish a triangle before you put it down and come back to it, so that's really not a big deal. But I do think metal on some of these fibers could be a little slippery. So I used 3 different bases. Okay, so these words are in Norwegian, so I'm probably gonna say them wrong, but I wanna start with this base that I used for my first Sadness Garn collaboration, which was the palette cardigan. This is the Borstet Alpaca. So I think that translates to brushed alpaca. I'm gonna look right now. It's brushed alpaca. So they have a lot of fun, bright colors, and it's 50 gram skeins, and it's 96% brushed alpaca and 4% nylon. And I like that the nylon is in there because it helps the sweater keep its shape. And I love the texture of it. So it's very fuzzy and just has a really nice handle. On the website it says nice and airy, soft, light, and comfortable to wear. And I can echo that. So these two, the bright red and sort of this periwinkle blue, are the brushed alpaca, Borscht alpaca. Then I tried a new base called Kos, and Kos is in here with these two colors. And Kos, 62% baby alpaca, 9% wool, and 29% nylon. So it's still fuzzy, but not quite as fuzzy as the brushed alpaca. And it kind of has a chainette feel to it. And this is probably the most slippery of the three bases that I used. And there's a lot of yardage on this. So you can see, even though I did full rows, you'll see compared to other skeins that there is extra in the Kos, K-O-S. For the rest of the sweater, I used a base called Garn, which is 100% Norwegian wool. And this has a twist to it. You can see maybe a little bit better here. It has a little twist to it. And it's just a nice, I think this is considered bulky yarn. And it's just so easy to knit these triangles with. This was the easiest one. And I have many colors in this sweater. So I'll just show you the remnants of each here. Here they all are. There's just a little bit left, just enough to make maybe a couple more triangles if you wanted to. And they're so beautiful, and I loved putting them all together. So those are the three types of yarn that are in this sweater, and it was really important to me that there were different bases because that's what gives it the scrappy quality. And I'll try to get a little up close so you can sort of see how fun the texture is. So you can see the brushed alpaca. This is more of the mixed alpaca, and then the 100% wool. So let's talk about the construction of these triangles. First of all, it's so easy to memorize. You will memorize this pattern and you won't even have to think about it. And basically you're just picking up stitches along the points of these triangles. Now, if you're looking at this going, there's no way I'm weaving in all of those ends, I didn't weave in any ends. I just tied them. So I crossed over the wool, then I crossed over twice and tied again. I think that's like maybe a version of a surgeon's knot. Look on YouTube for the best, most secure knot, and that's what I did, and then I cut. So by the time I finished the sweater, it was already ready to put on. The only tricky part that I was having a hard time understanding, I'm going to tell you about right now, which was figuring out how to split for the sleeves. So the way you split for the sleeves is you have this one row here, right? The last row you do. So I guess it would be sort of this ochre color here. And I made a mistake and picked up in the wrong way. So what you need to do is you make 4 triangles on their own. So instead of picking up stitches for a base of a triangle, you just cast that many on, and then you just knit a triangle independent of the sweater. You knit 4 of them, and you can see them right here. So 1 forms the sleeve, 1 continues with the body. So you've done, this is your row right here with these guys right here. But now you're going to change gears and you're going to make your body smaller by adding this one. And then you're going to make your sleeve by incorporating the 2 from the body with this new triangle here. And I have a visual of that I'm going to insert here. I took a little picture. And you can see how they kind of lay with their right sides together. And then you're going to pick up stitches that way. And in the end, you will just sew this up in the armpit. So the reason you have 4 is because there's 2 on this side and 2 on this side. There they are. So that was written in the pattern, but a little bit hard for me to understand. So I wanted to point it out to you so that when you get there, you can come back to this video and just pause on this part where I'm showing you my armpits and how they fit together, and then with the picture of them together. Okay, there are two sizes. One is the extra small, small, medium, and one is the large, extra large, double XL. So I did this extra small, small, medium. I am a 32, 27, 37. That's my measurement. So I want you to know that when you see how this fits me. So there is a lot of positive ease. Let's see. This is the side of my waist, and this is the other side. So you can see there's probably, maybe 20 inches of positive ease if we're counting the front and the back. And it also hits me about, let's see, these are my hip bones, and it's hitting me about right there. So you can add more triangle rows if you want. It's very simple. You just keep going because there isn't a decrease in the body. You could also omit rows if you wanted it to be more cropped. And you won't have enough yarn in the kit, but you can just supplement with yarn you have in your own stash for that. Same with the length of the sleeves. You can add if you need to. And so I think if you need it to be much smaller or much bigger, you could experiment by just knitting a few triangles and doing that math where you say, okay, well, this is the width that I need it to fit, and this is how big this triangle is, and so this is how many triangles I'll need. So I know that's a bummer, but you could easily do that because just knitting one triangle will just take you a few minutes and you can figure it out. If you need more yarn because you're sizing up, you can supplement with more yarn that you have. You might have a little bit of extra to go the distance, but it's just about right for this kit. And because it's scrappy, it will actually be fun for you to incorporate maybe some yarn that you already have in your stash, maybe to remember a project from days gone by. If you have done entrelac, this is similar to entrelac because there's some picking up stitches and some knitting back and forth for each triangle, but I think it's a little bit more simple than the entrelac that I have done. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me here for a finished object video. I love talking about my knits and sharing it with you. And if you want to get your hands on a sweater like this kit is available for a limited time at our shop at knitandescape.com. I will link to it underneath this video. I want to twin with you. It'll be so much fun. And I have a styling video for this look on my IGTV, so you can check that out too. It's at kristyglassknits on Instagram. I'll see you next time here on Kristy Glass Knits. Bye!